Namaskar and welcome to the channel. Friends, in the previous videos, we have discussed about the tragedy and comedy during Restoration period. And we are only left with Restoration prose now. So in this video, we are going to study Restoration prose and its major writers. Prose is very important genre in literature. During Restoration era, the prose writing was widely spread and it was accepted all over England. The century itself is called the century of genius. There are a lot of reasons behind the growth of prose during the period. One of them is the 17th century has often been defined as the century of genius. Even in science, we see the writing of several scientific works. The cosmology of Copernicus was during this century itself, and Galileo was also one of the greatest scientists of the period. Moreover, Newton's law of gravity gained importance during this period only. And the founding of the English Royal Society, whose first house was Gresham College, then in 1870 it moved to Somerset House. So all literature was affected by the new spirit of the time, and imagination was slowly replaced by reason, while the passion and extravagance prevailing in Shakespeare's time gave way to self-control and balance. This led to the growth of prose during the period. And let us now discuss some of the major prose writers of the period. The first and foremost writer by whose name the period is known, the age is known, is John Dryden. John Dryden has written several prose works, among them the famous being Essay on Dramatic Poesy. He compared English and French drama, argued that the limitations which the French set themselves by keeping to the unities of time and place. He defended the use of rhyme in drama, praised Shakespeare. The important criticism, better critic, he led the way to a clear, reasonable and balanced way of writing English. So this is what he has written in the Essay of Dramatic Poesy, his well-known and celebrated work. The next writer is John Bunyan. He was born in Bedfordshire. He somehow seems to have misspent his youth. However, later he began to preach, and even he was arrested as an unlicensed preacher also. His works are many, important among them being Grace Abounding, The Pilgrim's Progress, The Life and Death of Mr. Badman, and The Holy War. So these are the important writings of John Bunyan. Bunyan's works are allegorical in majority. Readers of all ages enjoy the narrative while they follow the double meaning without an effort. Bunyan's style is unique in prose. He is a unique writer as far as prose is concerned. It is based on great biblical models. He has used a biblical model in writing of prose. His prose is homely, strong, sometimes humorous, but never sentimental. The next writer is Lord Halifax. Halifax was an outstanding figure in the House of Lords. He ranks very high as an orator. John Locke, the next writer, is known for his work Essay on the Human Understanding. His prose is clear, earnest, and without ornament. John Locke gave a new direction to the thought not only in England but also in other countries of Europe. New opinions are always suspected and usually opposed without any other reason but because they are not already common. So according to him, common things are not common, that's why they are opposed by people. Now coming to the very important part of this discussion, we are going to study the diaries. During this period, a new kind of work, a new kind of prose developed, and Restoration prose was mainly characterized by a new literary genre, that is diary. So what is this diary? A diary is usually a record of someone's private thoughts in a simple or even telegraphic style. So in the modern days, people have the habit of writing diary. So we know that several people, even we have diaries maintained even today. Great people's life comes to limelight through the diary. So diary contains references to time and place. It follows a chronological order since the pages are written daily or at short intervals. Usually diary is written on day-to-day basis. However, people write it whenever they find time. The characteristics of diary are it lacks a real addressee. That is why certain writers start each page with "Dear Diary." Now the features of the diary are: the narrative is in first person. It uses very simple language. There is informal tone in the diary, and most importantly, it requires greater importance when personal accounts are set in a larger social context, as in the case with the two most famous English diaries. There are two important English diaries, and both of them were born and they wrote during this period only. And they are none other than John Evelyn and Samuel Pepys. Both these writers have many things in common. Both John Evelyn and Samuel Pepys lived in the same period. During the Restoration period only they lived, and they were both friends, and both wrote about the important events of the time. Their diaries, however, differ greatly since the personalities and cultural backgrounds of the two writers were different. However, their diaries are very important source of information for us to discuss about the society at large during the period. First, let us discuss about John Evelyn. John Evelyn, born in 1620, was a great supporter of King Charles I. After the king's death and during the Commonwealth period, he spent many years on the continent. He had to leave the place and roam here and there. When he came back to England, he became one of the first members of the Royal Society. He was a prudent and discreet person. Evelyn's diary was begun when he was only 21 years old, and it covered a great part of his life. Evelyn wrote mainly about places and events and less frequently about people or himself. His style is impersonal, simple, but accurate, as if he were writing for a possible future public. And Evelyn's book is full not only of scientific observations but also of other kinds of information. So his diary is a very great source of information for us when we want to learn about the society of the period. His friend Samuel Pepys was born in the year 1633. He was basically a middle-class Londoner. At first, he was the supporter of Cromwell, then he was able to take advantage of any opportunities for the advancement offered by the new regime. He started his diary in the year 1660 and wrote it in a secret code of his own invention. There is a picture on the screen. You can see the original diary, the photo of the original diary written by Samuel Pepys, which is undecipherable. It could not be read by anyone till recently, and it was a secret code in which he wrote. It was his own invention. It was a mixture of shorthand contractions and foreign words, which was somehow lost. It was successfully deciphered in the year 1825. Now we can read his diary very easily. And the features of his diary are, his diary is written in 11 volumes, more intimate and personal than Evelyn's. His diary is more intimate and personal than Evelyn's diary. His secret code would prevent people from understanding it actually. The protagonists are the people and the writer himself. He wrote not only about the historical events such as the plague, the Great Fire, the Dutch wars, but also about his private life, setting the scenes in shops, well-to-do households, theaters, or churches on Sunday. So this is what he writes about. He does not only concentrate about the historical events, but also about his private life. Many of the historical events, such as about the plague, the Great Fire, the Dutch wars, we get information through reading his diary. When it comes to his style is one of very natural, which is rich in detail and full of humor. So these are the important prose writers of Restoration Age. Now, in all these three videos, we have discussed Restoration drama, that is Restoration tragedy, Restoration comedy, and Restoration prose. In the coming videos, we shall discuss about the other aspects of English literature. Keep in mind that the present works, especially the diaries, is very important for net and slit examination. It is often asked in the examination. Please do read, enjoy reading. Thank you one and all. Namaskar.